Okay, Assalamu alaikum everyone. My name is Hanif Abdulwali. I'm one of the heads of Alfaisal MedHub. Alfaisal MedHub is an initiative under the umbrella of the International Office College of Medicine in Alfaisal University that aims in creating an online global community of medical students. Alfaisal MedHub covers a broad range of topics that are common to medical students all around the world. And one of our primary goals is to help medical students understand the career opportunities that are available to them once they graduate and the know-how of the process that surrounds these opportunities. And since medical students are always confused of what's ahead of them, Al Faisal MedHub's Career Guidance series tackles this very issue through the lens of experienced and accomplished seniors. And we are happy to share with you that these Career Guidance series is conducted in partnership with AMBOSS. And today our topic is how to match as a couple. And we have our beloved alumni, Dr. Atassi and Dr. Lynn Alkhatib, with us today, who both graduated from the sixth batch, class of 2018, from the College of Medicine, Alfaisal University. Dr. Lynn and Dr. Anas got married during their final year of med school and then pursued their dream of matching at their desired specialties, Dr. Lynn matching in Pediatrics and Dr. Anas matching in Radiology at the prestigious University of Arkansas for Medical Sciences Medical Center through the couples matching process. And today they'll be taking you through the steps of the couples matching process, and we'll be answering any questions that you have towards the end of the session. And Dr. Anas and Dr. Lynn, you can start whenever you want.
Assalamu alaikum, everybody. Let me just quickly screen share.
We have a presentation prepared that we'll go through.
As soon as I figure out how to do it. Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Host disabled. Can you guys allow us to share screen because it's disabled?
Are you able to do it now?
Not yet. I think we can do it. Yeah. All right. There we go. Can you guys see our screen?
Yes, we can.
Okay, great. Okay,
yes,
so all right. So salam alaikum everybody again. I'm Anas and this is Lynn. We're basically we couples matched into match of 2020, right?
Yeah.
Match 2020. Alhamdulillah, it worked out for us, and so we'll try to make this as easy as possible and as comprehensive as possible, just to kind of clear out all the ambiguity around the couples match and try to answer most of your questions. So we'll start off with Lynn.
Okay. So first of all, just to kind of define who is a couple or like who can apply to the couple match, it really can be anyone. You can be married, you can be engaged, you don't have to be married, you can be friends, you can be family wanting to stay together. So they don't like really, I thought they would ask for like a marriage certificate or something, but they don't really care. It's just two people who want to stay together for their personal reasons. And then this is kind of the timeline of the application process in general. So you start with the application, you build your CV, you put your letters of recommendation, and then you kind of select the programs that you want to apply to, send it off, get interviews, then rank, then match. And we'll go through each of these in detail. So firstly, for the applications, and now we're going to talk specifically to the couples match, you need to apply to as many programs as possible. Let's say, we did pediatrics and radiology. Let's say both of you are doing internal medicine, or it doesn't matter if it's the same specialty or different specialties, apply to as many programs as possible. If you want to look at it geographically, let's say you want to apply to like the East Coast and the Midwest, so apply to all those programs there. for example. We personally applied to everything, all over the states. And then another very important point is to not limit yourselves. And what that means is, let's say we're talking about Boston. Boston has a lot of different hospitals. Apply to all the hospitals in that city. You don't need to limit yourselves, for example, to Tufts University. So both will only apply to Tufts. No, you may get an interview at Tufts. The other person may get an interview at Beth Israel. So as long as geographically you will be able to live together, or you will be able to basically live together, that's kind of how you need to think about it, and not the program itself. We're lucky we matched in the exact same program. But still, I mean, for example, one of our combinations that we had was up in Michigan. I had an interview at Harley and Flint, and Enes had an interview
at the Detroit Medical Center in Detroit.
So in Detroit, and we used that as a unique combination because we could technically live together, just kind of in the middle. They're about like an hour away.
Flint and Detroit are about 40 minutes to an hour away. So you guys kind of like, you have to keep in mind that you can live, well, if you weren't able to live in the same house or in the same place, at least have places that are close to each other. So as to say, you don't want to be one person in the West Coast, one person in the East Coast, and then flying will be hard. But if one of you guys was like in, let's say, Texas and Arkansas, Dallas and like Little Rock, that's like a 4-hour drive. It's not a big deal. You guys can still kind of see each other during weekends and stuff.
And you would consider that as a unique combination as well. Let's say Dallas and Little Rock, for example. And then, okay. So when you're applying, these are actually screenshots that Enes found on the NRMP. So this is the homepage. This is where you would, put your application type, your username, you have your unique NRMP ID, and this kind of just has dates on it in general for you to follow. So for you to actually identify yourself as someone who is couple matching on NRMP, what you need to do is you go to these 3 little lines on the side, you click on that, and then you click on your name. So here the example is Sarah Sharp. There's a drop down kind of list, and you click on couple. Click. So there at the bottom, you'll have the partner's NRMP ID, and that's where you would put your partner's NRMP ID. And you would submit that, and then this is possibly where you'll have to pay a fee. It's only about like $45. It's not much. And confirm, so partners NRMP and their name. Yes, this is the person. And then it'll go up to your applicant kind of information. So here it says pending because the NRMP will now send an email to your partner, and the partner has to accept. So they will kind of get the same kind of pop-up, the name of the partner who sent them their request. They will also have to pay a fee, about $45. And then finally, once it's accepted, you both will be identified as matching. So this will be carried forward to the ERAS application once you're building the rank list. So it doesn't necessarily have to go to the ERAS. You have the choice to add it to your ERAS application or not. It's really not going to matter whether it's on ERAS or not. I do not think, well, no, actually they do. No, it has to be on ERAS.
No, it doesn't have to. No,
okay.
No. So ERAS is only for interviews. I was just about to say, I don't think the program directors know about it, but no, I remember they do, because there were a couple of program directors that did point it out without me telling them about it. Yeah. So it just shows up, basically it just shows up on your application, so the programs know that you're couples matching. If you want to add it on ERAS, if you don't, then you can just not opt out and not put it in. It's not a big deal.
And on NRMP, identifying yourself as a couple, it doesn't have to happen when you submit your application. So I think the deadline this year is, when is it? Well, for us, it was September 15. I think it's October 15 this year.
September 15?
Like when they open the application.
Oh, I
Yeah.
don't know when it is.
Whenever that is, I think it's October something.
Yeah.
You don't like, you have time to do this NRMP matching.
Yeah.
The deadline is maybe around like December or January for that. So you don't have to do it immediately. Like we were still kind of thinking about doing the couples match. We were considering just applying and trying to make different combinations without using the algorithm. But in the end, we decided to go for it. Alhamdulillah, it worked out.
And I'll tell you guys later during the algorithm, I'm explaining the algorithm, why it's a bad idea to decide not to apply as a couple. If you want to be a couple, because there is a way to kind of keep your chances equal on like your matching chances, but it'll increase your chances to match together as a couple.
Rather than
we'll
by
talk
yourself.
about that later in the algorithm.
Okay. So then you reach the stage of interviews. So you start getting interviews from certain places. And so again, give an example. Let's say, and these are real life examples that happened to us. I got an interview at Texas Tech University in El Paso. So when I went there, I did my interview, and then I talked to the program coordinator, and I was like, I'm couple matching. My husband is applying to radiology. Can you please email the radiology program to send him an interview? And they're like, yeah, sure. And they did. They actually sent him an interview, and it happened both ways. He got an interview at a certain place, and he would tell them to send me an interview. And it happened at UTMB, right? You got the interview first, and then he told them, and I called them to send me an interview, and they will most likely do that. So at the very beginning, let's say you're interested in going to a certain place, call that program. This is in general for anyone. Call them and say, hello, I am interested. You can email them. And then for the sake of the couple match, if one person gets an interview, give them a call and say, hello, my spouse got an interview at this specific specialty. Can you please also send me one, because we are couple matching, over the phone, or once you get there to the interview, to ask them to send it to the other person. And you can also do that, like we talked before, if it's not the same hospital. So again, the example of you're in Boston, you got an interview at Tufts, your spouse can call Tufts and another place and be like, hey, my spouse got an interview at a hospital here in Boston, and we're couple matching. Can you give me an interview? So that all comes into play, and that's all very important. And let's say if you're at the same hospital, the programs, the specialty coordinator, program directors actually do talk to each other. So let's say they interviewed you both, they will talk and be like, oh, hey, that Ennis guy, I really liked him. Did you like Lynn for pediatrics? Yeah, sure. Let's see if we want to rank them high, both of them high, so that they can stay together. So really here in general, they're on your side. They understand that being a resident is difficult. They understand that they will make your life easier if they put you together. So it's don't be shy to ask. I was worried about asking. I thought it would decrease my chances. But whenever I saw their response, they're like, yeah, totally. We'll definitely talk to their program and see if they can send him an interview. So I was like, okay, well, this is cool. Hopefully this will work out.
Yeah, the couples matching is it's a very normal process that is very widespread here.
Yeah.
Everybody kind of understands it. Some of the program directors themselves have couple matched when they did their residencies. So yeah, like it's actually more beneficial for the programs to have a happy resident than a miserable one. And that's kind of the main reason why they actually try to get couples in together.
Yeah.
Just to kind of keep the residents happy during their 3, 4, or 5 years of residency.
And in the end, they're getting residents. They, as much as we are trying to apply and match, they need people to come and become residents and work for them.
Yeah.
So
unfilled spots are like a bad image for
exactly.
The program,
so it works both ways. Yeah. And I have so many colleagues who have couple matched just like us. I mean, it's again, it's not weird at all or rare.
Yeah. There we go.
Okay. So
yeah,
I was just going to end my part. So that's kind of just going through it. Now, Enes will go through the important part, which he kind of figured out himself. I'm just giving you all the, what's the word?
Tips and tricks.
No, I'm giving you all the, I know you did this all by yourself, basically. I like barely understood this, like how he was doing it. So anyway, please listen and to what he's gonna say.
All right. So first of all, the main part about like the match, especially when you're couples matching, is the ranking part. Even if you guys like apply for couples matching and pay that couples fee, you are not obliged to couples match. You can choose to not couple rank your rank order lists, and in that way you'll just rank separately. But as I said, that's a bad idea, because there is a way where you guys can keep your chances equal as if you're applying separately, but also increase your chances of getting accepted together. And this will kind of clear out when I talk about the algorithm. So the algorithm is a slightly complicated process. It's simple. It's fairly simple and straightforward, but to understand it, it may be a little complicated. That's why I brought an example, and I'm going to be explaining it through this example. After each slide, I will stop and ask if anybody has a question, just so I can make sure we're all on the same page and everybody understands the algorithm as we move on. During that time, during those like question segments that I'm going to give, please try to limit your questions to just the algorithm part, and then all other questions we'll be answering at the end of the presentation. Yeah. So starting off with the example, let's say we have 3 hospitals, hospital A, B, and C, and 3 people, person 1, 2, and 3. Hospital A has only 1 seat, hospital B has 2 available seats, and hospital C has 3 available seats. Okay, just keep that in mind. So the algorithm, so once these hospitals do the interviews, like they perform the interviews to these people, and everybody kind of makes up what they want to get and like where they want to end up, you're gonna head over to the rank order list. Now, I'm explaining the algorithm generally, how it works for individuals, so that I can apply it to couples. So let's say hospital A, the one that has only 1 seat, ranks their people as person 1 is their most preferred, and then person 2, and then person 3 is their least preferred. Hospital B puts it in 2, 1, 3 order. Hospital C puts a 3, 2, 1 order. And then you can see the people, person 1, 2, and 3, and how they ranked their programs and where they want to end up. So person 1 put hospital A first, and then hospital B, and then hospital C. That's his preference. Person 2 put hospital A first and then hospital B, but she didn't want to do hospital C for whatever reason it was. Person 3 really, really just wants hospital A. Otherwise, they don't want to match. So
it's a suicide match.
Yeah, basically, it's that's what they call it. It's called a suicide match, because this person is really risking a lot by not putting these 2 hospitals, and you'll see why in a minute. So now the algorithm will come in and start ranking people and basically matching people in their different places. So the algorithm will first come to person 1. Once they get to person 1, they'll go to the first rank. First rank is hospital A. Since this is hospital A, it'll go to hospital A. Hospital A ranked person 1 first as well. And so this is a done deal. Since hospital A had ranked person 1 first and person 1 ranked hospital A first, that's it. It's a done deal. It's a confirmed match, and that seat is taken by person 1. Now, obviously, as we know, hospital A only has 1 seat, so it doesn't have any other seats. So we'll move on. The algorithm will move on then to person 2. It'll look at their first rank. Their first rank is hospital A. It'll go compare it to hospital A. Well, hospital A already has that spot filled by person 1, which is ranked higher than person 2. And so the algorithm will scratch hospital A out, and then it'll move on to the second rank for person 2, which is hospital B. Now, hospital B, it'll go to hospital B and it'll check their rank list, and hospital B has person 2 ranked first. And so person 2 gets a confirmed match for hospital B because there's no person above it or above her. And then once that's done, person 2 takes hospital B's first position, and hospital B still has, and hospital B still has another empty seat. Okay. Now it'll move on to person 3. Person 3 only wants hospital A. So the algorithm will look at person B's rank. It says hospital A. It'll go to hospital A, compare it. It'll find that hospital A's seat has already been taken. And so it'll come back and it will scratch hospital A. And since person 3 does not have any other ranks, this person goes unmatched. Okay. Hospital C has 3 empty seats. Hospital B has 1 empty seat, and hospital A is completely full. And that would be the end of the match, the ranking algorithm or the matching algorithm that the NRMP uses. Now, let's say tentatively, hospital A had placed person 2 first and then person 1. What happens is person 1, the algorithm will start with person 1. It'll look, okay, hospital A. It'll go into hospital A. It'll see person 2, and then it'll see person 1. But since the position is not filled, it will give what they call a tentative match to person 1 for hospital A. Tentative meaning temporary. It's not a confirmed match. And then it'll move on to person 2. Once it gets to person 2, it will find hospital A as a first rank, and then it'll go to hospital A, and it'll find person 2 as also the first rank. So what ends up happening here, person 2 will take that seat, and it becomes a confirmed match because person 2 is their first rank, and hospital A is person 2's first rank as well. And so they get a confirmed match, and person 1, which was ranked second, will be scratched out, and the algorithm will go back to person 1, and it'll scratch out hospital A, and it'll move on to hospital B. And then it'll go to hospital B. It'll find person 2 is the first ranked in hospital B, so they'll scratch person 2 off because person 2 is already matched in A. And then the second rank is person 1. And so now person 1 gets a confirmed match to hospital B, and that's a done deal. That's a very kind of simple and the most straightforward way I could explain this. So does anybody have a question about how the algorithm works specifically?
No, it was a great explanation. Thank you.
All right, no problem. So this is basically how the algorithm works. Now, the way it works for couples is basically it links person 1 and person 2's ranks together as one unique combination. So this hospital A and hospital A, that's one unique combination. And then hospital B for person 1 and hospital A for person 2 is another unique combination. Even though person 2 had repeated hospital A twice, but since it's with a different combination, it becomes a different unique rank. And that's how the algorithm treats it. It treats each combination as a pair. So as to say, once the algorithm starts working, let's say person 1, gets a confirmed match in hospital A, but person 2 does not get a match in hospital A. Let's say hospital A did not rank person 2. What happens is the algorithm will scratch this combination out and it'll move to the next rank. And then it'll look at the next rank. Person 1 had hospital B and person 2 had hospital A. Since person 2 did not get hospital A, so this is also scratched out. And then this is scratched out. All 3 of them, just because person 2 was not ranked at hospital A. And then it'll move on to the 4th rank. You'll find person 1 wants hospital A, person 2 wants hospital D. And hospital D did rank person 2 very high. And so they did get this match. But let's say person 1 wasn't very highly ranked in hospital A. So this is again scratched out, and it'll move on to the next combination. And then let's say they were both highly matched in hospital D and hospital B respectively. So the algorithm will give them this match. And that's kind of how it works for the couples rank, the couples matching process. Now, there is a limit to how many unique programs you can add, and that's basically 20 programs that you can add to your rank list. But this does not include repetitions. So I can add hospital A as many times as I want, but it's still considered one unique program. It's not considered 2 or 3, it's considered 1. And then you can add up to 300 combination ranks together, but anything after 99 incurs a fee. We did not get to 100. I think our ranks together were 98. We had 98 ranks.
Combinations.
Yeah. So the last thing is that there is something called a no match code, meaning if you guys don't want to you don't want to lose yourself chance, like each of your chances, you both want to like match, even if that means at least one of you will match and the other will be unmatched. What you can end up doing is, let's say person one will again rank hospital A here, but person two will put a no match code for that combination. Meaning if person one is matched at hospital A, person two is unmatched. They will not search for a match for person two, and that's the combination that is finalized. So hospital person one will be matched, person two is unmatched. And you can do it vice versa. Person two can put hospital A here, and person one can put no match code. And that's another unique combination / rank. And it works out basically the same way. I do recommend you guys do this. But keep those no match codes at the very bottom of the list, because you both tentatively you both want to match. But again, it goes back to how you guys prioritize things, which will take me to the next slide. But is there any question for this slide on how the algorithm works for couples?
I just have one question.
Okay.
You said that for each combination we can have one program.
Yeah.
So can we make the same combination but with different programs?
Yeah. So what do you mean? So you can put, let's say person two here has hospital A ranked 3 times, but each time it's with a different program, with a different combination, right? So each combination is one pair.
The same combination but for different programs. That's what I was trying to say.
So like what? So
say hospital A, person 1, hospital A, person 2, hospital A, first program pediatric. Then again, the same formula, hospital A for person 1, hospital A for person 2.
Yeah. You can definitely do that. So each program has a unique program code. Okay. Whether that's regardless of the hospital, it has its own program code. So let's say radiology at UAMS has a specific code of 001. Internal medicine at UAMS, their code is 002. Get what I mean? So each one has a different code, and each code is considered a unique program. It's not the hospital that's considered a unique program. It's the program itself that's considered a unique program.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Yeah, definitely. No problem. Any other questions?
Yeah, that's an important point. Like the example on the slides is using hospital A and hospital B, but it's really program A and program B, in the same hospital or different hospital.
Yeah, exactly.
I have a question. I don't know if you're going to talk about this later. I understand how it works. I'm just curious, did you know how high a program was going to rank you to be able to do this? Like, did you ask, or it's just like by how you think they're going to rank you?
Yeah, the thing is, you'll never know exactly how they're going to rank you. There's no way of knowing. There is, though, you can kind of read the room. Once you're in there and doing your interview and everything, you can kind of read the program director and the interviewers. Basically, you can their like body language and how they interacted with you, and how happy they were with you, and kind of estimate whether you're going to be ranked high or low. But at the end of the day, there's no way of really finding that out, and it's against the NRMP rules for the program directors to hand that information out to anybody, including people in the hospital that are unrelated to you. They cannot give them that information. And if the NRMP does find out, that program ends up getting like a warning, I think at first, or maybe put on probation. So yeah, essentially there is no way of finding out how high they'll rank you.
But sometimes they kind of use like a different route to that. So they can never say, oh, we're going to rank you high. later on when you're done with interviews and you're working on the rank list, sometimes they actually send you an email. So a chief can send you an email, or the program director, and be like, hey, we liked you a lot and we think you would be a good fit in this program, and please let us know if you have any questions. That is a very, very good sign that they will rank you high.
Yeah. The problem with that is that sometimes some programs tend to also do the same thing applicants do, and they send out emails to everybody thanking them for coming in. So it becomes like a very hazy area.
But I mean, if
for sure.
If it's like a group email, like, oh, thank you for coming. And sometimes they send you, most of the time, most places send you a card as well. Just be like, oh, thank you so much. And they do that for all their applicants.
I never got a card.
Well, I got a card from a few. Yeah. But then, like, personally, I did get an email from, I think, 1 or 2 places saying, like, from the chief saying that, hey, we really liked you, we want you to come here, all that stuff. And then I emailed back, I'm like, great. Also take my husband, make sure that you take my husband. And it's funny, we realized that in general, pediatrics, they're like nicer, and they're more expressive. And
that's kind of what I was going to say. It also depends on like the program director. It's not all the same. Pediatrics are generally a lot nicer than different doctors than the rest of the doctors.
In radiology.
Like even for radiology, like the pediatric radiologists are a lot more are a lot nicer. But I feel like we're getting off topic for a bit.
Pick peds.
Anyways, there's another question that was sent in the chat, that if we put the no match at the end, wouldn't this make it harder to be matched, as other applicants will be accepted already? So no, that is incorrect, because what happens, I'm going to go back to the previous slide. So basically, again, even if someone had matched there, if you are ranked higher, they are unmatched from that position and you take that seat just because you're ranked higher. Going back to the example for hospital A, ranking person 2 first and then person 1. Person 1 may get a tentative match to hospital A just because the algorithm is starting off with person 1. And person 1 has hospital A ranked first. But when the rank or the algorithm moves to person 2, it'll see that person 2 has hospital A first, and hospital A has ranked person 2 higher than person 1. So what the algorithm will do, it'll scratch off, it will unmatch person 1. It'll give a confirmed match to person 2 at hospital A, and then it'll go back to person 1 and move to their second rank, which is hospital B, and then it'll match them to hospital B, depending on how high you're ranked. It's not about who gets matched first, it's about who is ranked higher. The higher you're ranked, the more that you're going to basically get, the higher chance that you're going to basically get matched. Even if someone else gets a tentative match before you, they will get unmatched, and you will be put in that position.
Because technically everything happens together. They don't, right? Like they don't go person 1.
No, it doesn't happen together. So the algorithm, obviously, you need to go like step by step. You need to take it one by one.
But like the applicants themselves, don't they just?
So the applicants will apply. So the applicants will put on their rank order list. The algorithm itself will not start ranking people until the rank deadline hits and the ranking ends. And then the algorithm, it's a computer-based algorithm, so it will take them one by one. But since it's computer-based, it goes quick. But it does do it one by one. So it'll go first person 1, and then it'll do their ranks, and then go to person 2, do their ranks, and then if it needs to go back, it will go back. That's kind of how it works. And since like there's thousands and thousands of people, that's why it takes a lot of time, and humans have to review this and kind of make sure it's working properly. So that's kind of the thing. Any other questions related to the algorithm?
Yeah, I have a question. So this actually is the first time that I've seen an IMG match as a couple, so congratulations, guys. But like prior to this, I've searched in the internet for statistics, like how is the match rate for couples as IMGs, and I couldn't find anything. Like, I'm just curious, how did you learn about this for IMGs, or you just extrapolate this from American medical graduates?
So when we went ahead and did it, because the thing is, the statistics tell you one thing, but then logic makes it seem like it's different. The way when we were applying for the match, it seemed like the statistics were very high for couples. But then thinking about it logically, well, if one couple doesn't match, the other one doesn't match, even if they would have matched if they were applying alone. But again, it goes back to how you play the algorithm, which I'm going to talk about in the next slide. But specific statistics I don't have for like IMGs. I do know generally the statistics for couples matching is about 95% success rate. But again, I think most of those are US IMGs, if not all, like US medical
AMGs,
graduates. Yeah. And if not all of them. And I guess their chances were maybe initially high. So there is a lot of bias in that statistic. I don't have a specific statistics for this.
But generally, if you're applying as a couple, you will get more, statistically, you will get more interviews than compared to if you're applying by yourself, because you're
depends on how hard you work on it.
But
yeah,
but we saw that statistic. So it was like in an article.
It just depends on how hard you
It
work
depends,
on it.
but
So you need to work on
that.
that. Yeah, you need to work on getting interviews
by calling places and
stuff.
emailing.
If you don't do anything, they're not really gonna pursue it.
And it worked for us because again, when Ennis got an interview at a place, they never emailed me or interview me. But when I called them and told them, they send me an interview. So
yeah. So like it goes back to that. But basically, yeah. So specific statistics we don't really have.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No problem. All right. So some tips that you guys can use during the ranking part. First thing you want to do is you want to start making your lists separately, as if you guys are ranking separately. You're not ranking as a couple. Put those lists on an Excel sheet is what we did. Just so that you know where you want to be, where you really want to be, like what's your most preferred program to your least preferred program. And then sit together and kind of talk about it and prioritize what you guys want. And there is no right or wrong answer to this. Every person is different. Every person is driven differently. You may want to prioritize being together. You may want to prioritize the program itself. You want a better program, I guess, for the sake of like getting better training or whatever it is. And basically just know what you both want. Once you figure that out, you want to make all the possible combinations that you can. So I've developed a formula to kind of help me guide me through how many ranks we should have at the end, just so that I know I haven't missed a combination. And it's a very simple formula. It's how many programs person A got multiplied by how many programs person B got. So I remember for us, I think I got like 10 programs, Lynn got like 8. So it's a simple multiplication. 10 times 8 is 80 combinations. But then you also want to add the no match codes, which is another 18 combinations, because 10 of my programs with no match codes for her, and then 8 of her programs with a no match code for mine. And that's basically an extra 18 combinations. So totaling a 98 ranks. Once you do that, once you kind of figure out how many numbers, like what the number is for all your combinations, you want to go ahead and start ranking these combinations together. Meaning, if let's say your priority is to be together, you can put, and this is what we did. We only had 4 places where we would end up together. Here in Little Rock, there was one in Galveston, Texas. The other was at Detroit or like Michigan. And the last one was in El Paso, Texas. And so since we only had 4, we put these 4 ranks on the top. And just for the sake of simplicity, I'm gonna say my first rank was UAMS or like Little Rock, and Lynn's first rank was UAMS. And so we put that as our first combination, UAMS with UAMS. And then our second combination was Galveston with Galveston. Third was Michigan with Michigan. And then the fourth was El Paso with El Paso.
Yeah. And that's what we did.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's basically what we did. And then after these 4, that's when we switched over and made our combinations in a way that basically helps us keep our matching rate or matching opportunity, matching chances equal as if we were applying separately. So to actually make that clear, I'll go back to person 1 and person 2. So person 1 has only A, B, C that they want to rank. Person 2 has A and D that they want to rank. And so person 1 and person 2 prioritize to be together. And so they'll put their hospital A and hospital A rank first. Okay. Now, everything below it means they're not going to be together. And so person 1 really prefers having hospital A, hospital B, hospital C. Person 2 would rank hospital A higher than hospital D if they were applying separately. And so so the way you want to think about this is you want to take your rank that you've made earlier as if you're applying separately and your couple's rank and join them together in kind of this manner over here. So one of you will repeat your first rank as many times as the other person. So taking person 1 and 2 as an example, person 2 repeats their first rank, which is hospital A, 3 times because person 1 has 3 ranks. And then person 1 for each rank will basically put their hospitals in the rank order that they want to be accepted in. It doesn't matter who puts the repetition and who puts the singular ones, because once the repetition ends, so these 3 end, the ranks start over again for person 1. He starts from the beginning, hospital A, hospital B, hospital C, and person 2 has hospital D, D, D. And then let's say person 2 had also hospital E. So again, they'll put hospital E 3 times and person 1 will go ahead and do A, B, C. The logic behind this is if person 2, or let's say person 1 will not get accepted in hospital A, but person 2 will get accepted in hospital A. Basically what happens is regardless of who puts what where, let's say for this example here, hospital A is repeated for person 2 and they will get that position. Hospital A for person 1 is scratched off. And so the rank algorithm will go down to the second rank, which is basically person 1's hospital B, right? And they both are matched in these 2 hospitals. And so this is the combination that will be the final match for both of them. In this way, person 1 got their rank order list the way they wanted, and person 2 also got their first preferred, right? So if we were to separate them and person 1 was applying separately, he wasn't going to get into hospital A regardless, right? He would get hospital B if he was applying separately. And this is kind of what happened over here. Now, let's say person 2 will not get hospital A, but person 1 does get hospital A. What the match algorithm will do, or the ranking algorithm, it'll scratch out all these 3 for both of them. But then when it goes to the 4th rank, which is person 2 has hospital D and person 2 will get accepted in hospital D. And person 1 will get accepted into hospital A. So this is the final match that the algorithm will choose. Person 1 will end up in hospital A, person 2 will end up in hospital D. So again, if we separate them, person 1 got their first rank, even though technically it is his 4th rank, but it's also his most preferred hospital. And then person 2, if they were to apply separately, they would have never gotten hospital A regardless, but they did get their 2nd rank, even though technically it's their 4th. Does that make sense? Yeah, does that kind of make sense? You can go ahead and ask a question if it doesn't make sense.
Okay.
All right. I'm assuming it does make sense. And
They're saying yes in the chat.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Perfect. So yeah. So that's kind of what you want to do when you're putting your combinations. I know it's kind of like it may seem all over the place, but if you actually put it in an Excel sheet and organize yourself before putting anything on the NRMP, before submitting or even filling out your rank lists, put everything on an Excel sheet. Make sure you have all the combinations you want. Make sure they are ranked the way you want, and then basically split them and decide who's going to do the repetitions and who's going to do the recurring orders. For us, I think I was the one that did the repetition, right? And you did the recurring. I don't know. Regardless, it's the same. It really does not matter who does the repetition and who does the recurring order. Both ways, you're giving each of the two partners equal chances to match in whatever they prefer. And then at the end, this is where it'll have to be like, you guys will have to reach a conclusion together on who will put the no match code and like how you guys will rank your no match code combinations. Who would you prefer to rank or match over who? But do make sure that like at least one of you guys like put all the no match combinations at the end so that at least one of you guys matches. Once you've done your Excel sheet and you've ranked it the way you want, go ahead and fill out the NRMP. It's going to be a really high rank number and you got to be meticulous about it. And then once you're done with it, one of you has to certify and submit before the other person. So one person will certify and submit, and then the other person will come to certify and submit. If there's any recurring combinations, the NRMP website will alert you and it won't let you submit. And so the first partner will have to go back, change the rank again to remove the repetitions, certify again, and then the second couple can now certify and submit. This actually helps you to kind of gauge on maybe you've repeated the same combination, maybe you missed a combination. Just make sure when you're recertifying that you have everything you want in there. It did take us, I think, 2 days to kind of actually just completely submit everything because we were trying to be like as meticulous as possible and make sure everything is in there. And then that's kind of what we recommend. Like try to make sure every single rank is in there and every single combination, just so that your chances are still high. Now, what if for whatever reason, the algorithm goes all the way down to the no match? Like you weren't able to match both of you together. One of you wasn't matching, the other person matched. What happens then? The unmatched partner can call the NRMP and ask them where their partner had matched, like what city. They won't tell them the program, they'll just tell them which city they matched. And then that person can go ahead and move on to SOAP and apply to all the programs in that area so that they can try to match there. And then basically they'll go through the regular SOAP process like any other basically unmatched applicant. And then the very end is once you guys certify, submit, and wait for the match, just stay calm. Whatever is written is going to happen. There's no changing. Like you can't do anything about it at that point. So just stay calm and kind of chill, do whatever you want up until the match day comes up, because that's going to be basically your biggest
And I have a point to add. So kind of the advantages, disadvantages. So obviously the advantage is if it works out, you will match together and be together in the same city and live together. One disadvantage to this, other than not matching, obviously, is sometimes, and this also depends on how you prioritize things. So we prioritize being together. For example, Enes got interviews at programs that are very strong, that if he was applying by himself, he would have ranked those top. But because I didn't get interviews in that city or in that hospital, and because our decision was to stay together, he had to rank those lower in the combinations where we wouldn't be together, not like the not like the unique couple combination, like the first 4 that we did. So that's something to keep in mind. And again, this is kind of relationship advice, but also in regards to the match, open communication is key. You need to identify what your priorities are. And it needs to be clear because you need to submit the rank list in whatever, priority that you have. So that's something to consider. And and
like being clear just helps you guys down the road not make the wrong decision, and then it saves you a lot of like headaches and fights down the road once you both are clear and you both decided together that you prioritize being together regardless of what you're missing out on or what you're letting go of. You both took that decision together, like equally.
Yeah. Versus no, well, I got an interview at a very high position or high ranking hospital and I want to take that, you know. So again, that it has to be a mutual decision.
Yeah. Like, yeah. I mean, if one of you does get like in a very highly ranked hospital and very nice hospital, and you want to do that and you want to like pursue that over being together for those limited number of years, obviously it's a temporary separation.
Yeah.
It's not a permanent one. But if one of you wants to do that, then for sure, like there's no wrong answer here. It's not wrong. It's not bad. That doesn't make you a bad partner. It just, you're prioritizing your kind of career over just these few temporary years that you're going to be separated.
Yeah, it's only like
and it's completely understandable. Just make sure that this is clear and you both agree on that before you get into the ranks. Just so that if that person ends up letting go of that position and they really wanted to do it for the sake of like being together, for the sake of their partner not being sad, and then they'll bring it up later. Oh, like I had to let go of this for you. It just creates a big hassle, and it's a really bad thing to do.
Very ugly.
Yeah. And so just to kind of like not get into that, generally, like as a couple, you have to be open and you have to like talk to each other about it
And be clear.
Clear about it.
And don't be afraid to say what your priorities are.
Yeah.
You can talk it out and
it works the same for like family, like if your couple's matching with your sibling. It works the same way. Like you guys don't want to fight over something like this.
Yeah.
Like be clear like from the get-go that, okay, I prioritize that I want to put my higher ranked ones first over being together with you. And that's kind of understandable. Like if you guys can reach a consensus and a decision on that, that's great for both of you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So no, yeah. So that's, I guess that was the end of the presentation. These are the resources. So if you guys, and I'm sure some of you are confused or will at least be confused later on when you try to like understand this again. Okay, there's the mouse. Sorry, we lost the mouse for a minute. Yeah, so I'm sure some of you will be confused about like the algorithm and how it works, especially later on when you actually get to the rank stage. You can always go back to these videos, and these videos are the ones that actually guided me through all of this.
Yeah.
It's the NRMP has a really nice, well made out video on how the match algorithm works for individuals, which is this one, generally how the match algorithm works. And then this one is basically how the algorithm works for couples. And I really advise you to guys save these links, especially when you're about to rank and you kind of want to you want to remember how the algorithm works. You can always go back to these videos and you can always remember.
Yeah.
And then if you guys have any questions down the road later on, these are our emails. This is Lynn's UAMS email. This is my Alfaisal email. And you guys can always like feel free to ask us any questions you want.
Yeah, those videos, I swear we watched them like at least 4 or 5 times. Like we almost studied them. So it's very important to have them as resources to go through.
So now we're going to open the floor for questions. So let's start off with the first question. Why did you think you'll match in these 4 programs and not the others? Were they the only 4 common places? No, so we didn't think that we would match here. We had, as I told you, so I had like 10 interviews. Lynn had 8 interviews. So we had 8 programs that we, or 10 for me, 8 for her that we could match in. But these were the 4 programs that we prioritized because these were the only ones where we would end up together. But that doesn't mean that we would end up in, like we would only end up in these 4 programs. Get what I mean? So we put those 4 ranks first, but then as I told you, we had 98 total ranks, like literally 98 ranks with 98 different combinations. So those 4 combinations that where we're together were at the top, so that at least we may end up together. But then everything from rank 5 to rank 98 was all the possible combinations in the way that I described to you earlier. so that we both kind of have equal chances of matching, the same as if we were to apply separately.
Yeah. So not that we thought they were going to rank us. We chose to put them in the first four because our priority was to be together.
Yeah, exactly. Second question, do you know any friends who couple matched? Yes, we do.
Yes.
I actually know these couple that actually matched, both of them matched into internal medicine. There are a few of the people like that. And
Are
then
they
there,
IMGs?
yeah, they're both IMGs. They're
Okay.
both from India. And then there are a few other people that I've seen that have matched like us, like in different specialties that I know
And
of.
I think, I'm trying to think. I also, one of my friends, she couple matched with her husband. She's in peds and her husband is, or he's her boyfriend actually, in anesthesia.
IMGs.
And they're IMGs. Yeah.
And then obviously there are a lot of Americans. One of my
Yeah.
colleagues, his wife or fiance matched into med peds.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are a lot of people
I
that we
have a
know.
lot. I have like 25 people in my class and at least like 6 or 7 couple match, but they're American. So
Yeah. Could you please send those links in the chat for sure? We'll go ahead and put it in the chat. Can we have the
Yeah, of
slides? Sure, we don't mind giving out the slides. I'm not sure how this is going to work. I guess you're going to have to
we'll email
deal with
them.
Alfaisal MedHub. Well, we can email MedHub and then they can take care of it.
Oh, okay.
Doctor, you can share the slides in the chat.
Oh, we can? Okay. Yeah. Then that's actually a lot easier. We'll go ahead and put the
Oh, cool. Okay.
oh, there it is. Okay.
Nice.
Yeah, there we go. So I just uploaded it's uploading now, the whole presentation onto the chat. You guys can feel free to open it. And I guess the links are in there. So just kind of save that.
Yeah, thank you.
I have the links, no problem. So going back, thinking after the couple combinations, does it matter which person puts the no match first? It does matter in the sense that the no match, basically, if whoever puts the no match first and the other person actually gets matched, that person's going to be unmatched. So you have to keep that in mind. You have to decide on how you want to rank your places. So let's say one couple, they prioritize person A matching, regardless of where. And so person B will put all the no match code combinations first. And then person A will put all the no match code combinations with person B's different ranking combinations. Versus another couple prefer ranking in higher in higher ranked programs regardless of who matches there. And so person A will, let's say, put Harvard while person B puts a no match code, and then person B will put let's say Duke, and person A will put a no match code. So you can kind of mix and match and play with it however you want. Just make sure you're both agreeing upon who you want to put the no match the no match code first. It doesn't have to be in succession. You can just kind of do it the way you want. It doesn't have to be after each other. Do you have anything to add?
No.
Okay. Radiology is usually advanced. That is correct. What did you do to be together for the prelim year? So
That's a great question.
Yeah, that's a great question. My program is actually a categorical program. So there are very, very few programs that, radiology programs that are categorical, meaning they will provide you with the prelim year. But just having that said, things you can do to kind of make sure your prelim year or increase your chances of getting accepted to your prelim year in the same place is when you're applying to the advanced positions and you got an interview there directly, if you haven't applied to the prelim spot in that program, which actually happened to me, directly go into NRMP or into ERS and just throw in an application. It's going to cost you maybe $20, whatever. Put in an application and pick up the phone and call the program coordinator for that prelim spot and tell them, hey, I got an interview in the radiology program at your hospital. Can you please give me an interview to the prelim year?
Yeah, and they did.
That being said, I only applied to prelim surgery. And here's something I'm going to let you all know, because a lot of IMGs don't know this fact, that prelim surgery is a very kind of soapy, it's a soapy position, meaning almost like maybe 70 to 80% of programs will not send interviews for prelim surgery years, for like a prelim surgery position, just because to them, to the surgery program, they don't really care who ends up. Most of these places know that these people are applying either to radiology, anesthesiology, ophthalmology, like any of the advanced positions. And so they know that you guys really don't, most of these people don't want to be surgeons. And so what you end up doing during that year is basically slavery and scut work. No, honestly, like that's kind of what you do. You're like, you do all the scut work that they have, you do all the notes, you do all the orders so that you can free their own surgery residents for the OR. And so they don't care how qualified you are because you're really not doing anything that needs qualification. All you're doing is writing notes. And so keep that in mind. So even if you apply to prelim surgery and you don't get any interviews, that's okay. It really, like, you shouldn't freak out, because once you go into SOAP, you will definitely, for sure, find a position. Just make sure you apply to New York, I guess, because like New York always gets has like, I think like 300 or 400 unmatched like prelim surge. Yeah, prelim surge unmatched spots are like, the numbers are hilarious if you look at them. Just because they really don't care about the prelim positions. They don't care about like inviting people to interview. That being said, there are places that will send you an interview. As Lynn was saying, that did happen to me with El Paso. Basically, I applied to prelim surge in New York, Illinois, and Florida, because these were the most IMG friendly states for the match 2019. And so I assumed if I apply there, I'll have my higher chances of like getting into prelim surge, and I don't have to go around applying everywhere.
And wait, sorry. And we decided that if he were to do that prelim year somewhere else, like we're not together, but then continue on into radiology where we're together, that would be fine. You know,
yeah,
it's
I mean, yeah, for this specific thing, it's just 1 year of separation. It's not a big deal, honestly. Don't like here there is a right and wrong answer. Don't force your spouse or your partner to like either have their prelim year as well in that same position, or else you don't, or else like ruin their career. Yeah. Come on, like, I mean, this is no, honestly, because like advanced position itself is like very tough to deal with. But if you absolutely have to do that prelim year somewhere else, go ahead and do it. Don't ruin your advanced position for the sake of not having a prelim year. Yeah. Honestly, don't do that. But yeah, so I applied to these 3 states, but then I got the radiology interview at El Paso, Texas. But I hadn't applied to the surgery program there. And the radiology coordinator emailed me saying, hey, do you want me to talk to the surgery people to get you an interview? And I'm like, oh, shoot. Like, I didn't apply there. I didn't tell them that, obviously. I was like, oh, I didn't apply there. So I directly went into NRMP, sent in an application, and then replied to her email saying, oh, that sounds great. That would be amazing if you can do it. Yeah, please do it. Go ahead. And she actually went and talked to the surgery coordinator, and they actually sent me an interview within the next day. So, yeah. So just obviously you can't apply to all the prelim surgery programs. There's like they're in the hundreds, and it's going to cost you way too much. 200. Yeah, it's like a lot. And so just apply to like, I would say apply to like between 30 and 50 prelim programs, whether it's surgery or whatever. But if you do get accepted in a place where you did not apply to a prelim program there, go ahead and apply directly and call the program coordinator, tell them, hey, I applied and I got an interview here. Can you guys send me an interview? And a lot of times they may actually end up sending you something. Next question. Sorry for asking, was Arkansas on top of your list? Yes, Arkansas was the top. Yeah, it was our #1 ranked list. And we were very happy. Like it worked out, alhamdulillah, eventually. But yeah, it was our #1 because it was kind of the best combination for both of us. So like Galveston, it was amazing for me. It was an interventional radiology program, but then the PEDS program at Galveston wasn't that good. But also prelim. And then
one of the what do you mean the prelim? Like one of the reasons why we picked UAMS was because it was an advanced program for NS. Right? Because
it's a categorical.
Sorry, it's categorical. Yeah. So that was one of the reasons why we picked UAMS, because he didn't have to deal with that whole prelim nonsense. He would get it here. And for us as couples, we thought that would be kind of a better option. That was also
so it was like these were the 2 main reasons. I feel like the first reason was the biggest reason. if like UAMS, or let's say UAMS itself wasn't, their PEDS program wasn't like that good, we may have ended up putting Galveston first. Because I'm looking at it hindsight now. I didn't know this information back then, but looking at it hindsight, if I were applying, let's say separately, or UAMS, their PEDS program wasn't that good, I think I would have put Galveston first, just for the sake of I would be doing interventional radiology straight up.
Yeah.
And I don't mind dealing with the soap of like prelim surge, because most of the time, 90% of the time, you do end up in a position,
Yeah.
even if it's in a different place, but it's just 1 year, and then you basically do your dream career.
Yeah, I mean, it was
Yeah.
like we, especially for like UAMS and then Galveston,
Yeah.
we talked a lot and thought about it a lot.
Yeah,
And then
yeah.
eventually came to this
decision. Yeah.
UAMS.
But then like
Alhamdulillah.
Detroit wasn't really good for either of us. El Paso as a program wasn't good for either of us, but I really hated the city. Like the city basically reminded me a lot of like Medina, but without like the profit.
But I like the city.
It's very like it's a desert.
Yeah.
There's not a lot that
No. Well, it's nice.
and
I liked it.
it's
but
on the
see,
border of Juarez, which is basically the
Mexico.
highest crime rate in Mexico, that you can see. Like it's
but
basically
still,
where the cartel
You can go to
lives.
Mexico for lunch. Like that's so cool.
Yeah, and deal with the cartels.
So yeah, so this happens obviously. Like you both like
Yeah, I mean
disagree,
you
and
guys,
then
yeah,
you will kind of have to come to a compromise.
Yeah.
And that's fine.
exactly. So if you don't mind me asking, how many programs did you apply to each? So this goes back. So for us, we both applied to all the programs out there.
Yeah, I applied to
So-
all pediatrics.
And I applied to all diagnostic and interventional radiology. There were 180 diagnostic radiology. There were 80 interventional radiology programs. I applied to all of them, so that's 260. And then I applied to 50 prelim surgery programs, totaling out to 310 programs. Lynn, I think you applied to 240?
220, 240. Yeah, just
Yeah.
basically all the PEDS programs.
All the PEDS programs.
Like I even applied to Hawaii and
Yeah, I
just-
mean,
just
yeah.
for the heck of it, like halas.
Yeah, it's not just for the heck of it. So like if if whatever program you want to get into or whatever specialty you want to get into does not have a lot of programs, it doesn't have 300 plus programs, and you do have the means and the resources to do it, go ahead and apply to every single one of them, because that will only increase your chances.
But let's say, for example, internal medicine, they have like 400.
That's what I said. So if your
Awesome.
specialty that you're applying to is not 300 plus, apply to everything if you have the
okay,
resources.
Yeah.
But if you were applying to something, as Lynn said, like medicine, which has like 500 something, I think it was like 550 or 560 programs. Surgery has like another 500 something. If you're applying to these specialties, then you need to be picky and you need to pick and choose. Try to find the places that are IMG friendly. Try to find the places that are couples friendly, and kind of have those like higher on your list. And then eventually try to apply to like 250 programs
Yeah.
each, 250 to 300 if you can. I would say don't go below 180 or like 160.
Yeah. Yani below 200.
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, depends. Obviously, it all depends on your resources, because all
Yeah,
of this
of course.
costs money.
Yeah.
All of this costs money. I don't mind sharing how much I paid. I ended up paying like $7,300 for the match for those 310 programs. Alhamdulillah, like I had the resources. My dad was the one that like, may God like save him and like keep him with us. He's the one that paid for it, and
But yeah,
it worked out.
it's
But obviously,
significant.
yeah, it's a lot of money. Like it's understandable. Just try to apply to as many programs as your resources allow you.
Yeah.
Doing anything above like 300, I think is like over the top, is way too over the top.
Yeah.
Especially for like
200.
medicine.
Yeah.
Especially for like medicine, like there are a lot of spots that are not IMG friendly, and applying to them is really a waste of money.
And also just kind of in general, when you're applying, whether it's, especially for couple matching, a lot of places are like community hospitals or like not hospitals, but community programs. Like they're in the middle of nowhere. It's a small city, and that mostly applies for like family medicine and internal medicine. Some, not pediatrics, family and internal medicine. So for example, you can stay away from those. Like in Arkansas, let's say you have UAMS, that's like the big program, but then we have like family medicine in Magnolia, in Jonesboro, like those are really small cities, and they have very limited resources. So anyway, that can be like a filter for you. Like, okay, I don't want like tiny programs where it's like 3 people and it's like some like little hospital and the, so that's something.
It goes back to like what you guys want, what you guys prefer, what you guys prioritize again. Okay, moving on. So does choosing couple match in ERAS or telling the programs, I guess, during the interview make programs hesitate to rank us? It does not make them hesitate at all.
We hesitated.
If anything, we
But-
hesitated. The programs themselves did not hesitate. If anything, it actually helped us get interviews. So I would highly recommend, we both would highly recommend to please go ahead and do it.
Say it from
Let
the
them,
beginning.
put it on ERAS, let them know that your couple's
Mention
matching.
it in the interview.
Tell them the name of your partner and their ERAS ID.
They'll take it down.
So that they write it down and like contact their program and kind of try to get them an interview. So yeah, definitely do that. Would you mind sharing your Excel sheet where you put your combinations? Oh boy. I don't think I have it.
I have the ERAS combination. Was it the ERAS? I have the combination, like the list that we did, the 98 list.
Do you?
Yeah, I still have it saved on my old laptop.
Okay. Yeah, I guess we're gonna have to like dig for it and find it. We can go ahead and send it, I guess, to the Alfaisal MedHub maybe, or I don't know. We'll find a way to send it out. I'm not sure how we're gonna do it, but yeah, it needs digging to like end up to like getting it out. But yeah, sure. If we find it, we'll try to send it to you guys. Okay, next question. Concerning the urology match, what's your feedback, if any?
Urology is by itself.
I don't know what the urology match is, or like how it works. I really do not know. So I don't really have any feedback.
Yeah, but it doesn't go with the typical like match cycle. They like rank earlier and they match earlier, and then ophthalmology.
Yeah.
I think derm. I'm not sure.
No, ophthalmology is part of the ERAS match.
No, it's not.
It is.
No.
I saw a lot of ophthalmology.
Noor Shami told me, and no.
It's
Well, her
different?
fiance, he
It's
went
completely
into
separate?
Yeah, it's
Interesting.
completely separate. So
Maybe-
he matched like
maybe
before.
that became later, yeah. But anyways,
know.
so either ways, we really don't know. I can only talk about like ERAS match, but anything outside of ERAS, we don't know. So to get into radiology program, you have to apply to both radiology and 1-year prelim surgery programs and do interviews to match to both. Yes. Simple answer is yes. That's a straightforward answer. The way you do that is for all advanced position, it works the same. You apply to your advanced positions and you apply to prelim positions. But then what happens is during your ranking season, when you're ranking the stuff, you have a main rank order list and a supplementary rank order list. So you rank your advanced position, so your radiology, in that main rank order list. But then for each rank in your rank order list, you can make a supplementary rank order list. And that supplementary rank order list is where you rank your prelim positions.
Yeah, that's an important point.
So that what happens basically in the algorithm, if you match into your into whatever you're matching into, let's say radiology, once it makes a match there, it'll move on to your supplementary and try to match you to your supplementary. If you don't match to your supplementary, but you do get a final confirmed match in your advanced position, it will not cancel and move on to the next. It'll stop there. And then during match day, you'll get an email saying that you matched into radiology at this city, but you have not matched into a prelim.
Like a partial.
And you will have to, it's called a partial match
Partial
email.
match.
And then you will have to soap into like a supplementary or like a prelim year. But yeah, that's kind of how it works.
This question. Do you have to apply to prelim search? Can you do like prelim
It doesn't have to,
medicine?
so it doesn't have to be a
Yeah.
prelim surge. You can do prelim medicine, you can do a transitional year. You can do prelim pediatrics if you want. There's this misconception that there's only prelim medicine surge and transitional, but I've also noticed that there is a prelim pediatrics.
There's prelim peds, yeah. And
So there may
clear.
and there may be other prelim years that we don't know about. So you can like,
Family medicine. I don't know.
just go
But
crazy
yeah,
with it.
just-
Try find whatever you want to do and apply to it. But transitional year is very, very, very competitive because all advanced position are trying to do a transitional year. The reason being is it's the least amount of work and you still get paid the same. Versus prelim medicine
Or
is
prelim
like a little
surge.
more work than a transitional, and then prelim surge as like it's slavery.
No, had the medicine is really remember.
But
Shazma?
it's a lot worse than
The Dallas.
yeah, but it's a
Yeah.
lot better than surgery.
Yeah,
It's a lot
I
better than
guess.
surgery. Okay, so okay, yeah, we've done that. Thank you very much. How did you guys use the gap year to strengthen your application? So we both it wasn't to strengthen our application.
We did.
It wasn't to strengthen the application though. So our what happened with us is we got engaged at the very end or like the very beginning of no, actually mid
Let
internship
me go
year.
through the
Wait.
I'll go through the
So
timeline.
we got engaged on like we did our nikah at mid intern year
in December.
and then we came to America January, did 6 months of like electives over here. And then eventually after we finished our electives, we started studying for step 2. Once we got that over with and we applied to the match, we wanted to kind of like we wanted to get married because there was this whole issue because I was getting the green card and I wasn't allowed to leave the US, so that we may or may not have been able to have a wedding outside the US if we were to wait. So we decided to get married earlier, and the only way we can like support ourselves without having our families to kind of like pay, because that's one thing I really didn't want. I didn't want to live like on like my dad's salary basically. So we decided to work in a gastroenterology clinic, which is basically owned by my uncle and her like his friends, and one of them is like her dad's best friend as well. So
Yeah.
so we ended up working there
We worked
for
as
like
scribes.
minimum wage, but we were both like kind of working, so we were able to like
Yeah.
support ourselves.
But
That's kind of what we did. It
but
wasn't
that-
mainly for the application.
No, but it does strengthen your application.
It helps.
I personally asked one of the program directors when I was doing an elective, like before applying, and I was like, so I told him, I'm like, okay, so I basically have to kind of take an 8-month gap because I'm an IMG. I have to apply once I have my ECFMG certificate, or once I have my diploma actually. So I'm gonna have to sit for like 8-9 months waiting for the application. Or waiting for the match. And he said the best thing that you can do is work in something clinical. So he did mention a scribe as an example. So if you're working as a scribe, that is, and you can find scribe jobs everywhere. I mean, we were lucky because we have like ties, we have relatives, but
Well, it wasn't
they're-
really lucky. It was more convenient for us.
Yeah,
We
but
could
you
have
can
found
find it.
we could have found a scribe position elsewhere that paid more. But yeah, like
but I mean,
we just chose
regardless,
to like
that's
take the
kind of our
convenience.
personal choice.
Yeah, but yeah, you
um,
can find there's scribe positions
or doing
all over the
research.
states, like literally all over the states.
Or doing research, or
Research
if you're
helps.
working as a TA, honestly, in Alfaisal, that's also good.
Yeah, like just
So,
doing something. Don't sit and do
Don't
nothing.
just sit around and do nothing.
I did ask actually one of the program directors during my interview, like, what do you recommend what do you recommend me doing? And he's like, what you're doing is perfect. Just stay in the clinical kind of field during this year. That really helps you. So I guess obviously it's not for sure that this is the right thing to do, but I guess like staying in the clinical, staying in the clinical career versus research is maybe a little better.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, just as long as you're doing something, that's the most important. Even as a TA, like you're teaching, you're doing stuff, they still take that into account.
Yeah. And for example, for me, once so kind of we applied in September, I took a break from September to January before like we got married. And I just sat at home basically with my family, and then I started working afterwards. And I mentioned that I'm like, yeah, I took that break because I just wanted to sit with my family, and I haven't seen them in a long time, and I've been studying forever. And they're like, yeah, sure, totally. So, it's بالمعقول. It doesn't. You don't need to be killing yourself 24/7. Of course, to reach to the match process, you have to do so many things. You have to do your exam, you have to study for your exams, you have to work on the application, it's very stressful. So if you feel like you need to take 1 or 2 months just to do nothing, that's okay. And it's important because once you match, inshallah, it's great, amazing news that you're going to be a resident and you're going to be working really hard. And
here's my piece of advice. If you want, after match day, if you guys like end up matching, just quit whatever you're doing and just go live your life.
Also then, just
like
quit.
Go to like Honolulu or like Bali and just like live your life for the next 3 months.
If there's no COVID,
dude, even with COVID, just put on a mask and get your vaccination.
No,
but honestly, just try to like chill after that and just kind of, because that's basically your last vacation.
Ever.
Yeah. How did you guys, okay, we did that. How long did it take you guys to apply, and when do you recommend we start applying? Start applying as soon as like it opens.
When it
Like, so
opens,
basically
yeah.
have your application ready by the time the applications open, so that once they open, you just have to click submit. Basically on ERS, I think maybe someone talked about it, or I'm sure MedHub may have like a whole walkthrough, but yeah, like once you get into ERS and you fill your application and you choose all the programs that you want, because the way you have to apply is you have to save the programs first and then click apply. So have all the programs saved, have everything ready to go.
The letters.
Yeah,
your
and so
personal
as soon as they open the application, click submit.
Yeah.
It submits it in. So that's basically how you can do it. Some people, and this is my take into it. When we applied, the application process opened on a weekend, like it was a Saturday. I kind of stressed myself, but I also applied like a couple of hours after they opened, which some people start telling you, no, you have to apply like as soon as they open. I think that's BS. Try to apply obviously as soon as you can. Try to have your application ready. But if, let's say, the application opens on a weekend, there's nobody in the hospital to kind of pull down your applications and kind of start going through it over the weekend.
True.
No one's going to do that over the weekend. So just kind of like have a little bit of logic. But yeah, try to have it done as soon as you can. Do you have a list of the places that are couple match friendly, or if there is any way that we can find those places?
So there's no list, but if you go on like the website of the, like if you want to, like, you know, the place where it says meet the residents, or you kind of see, sometimes they mention that they
the best place to go is to Freda. Freda gives you a lot of information about the different programs. Their IMG friendly state, their I guess their couples match friendly state. It'll tell you if yeah, I don't know the website exactly, but if you Google it,
Freda?
Yeah, Freda. I know so just Google Freda, US residency, and it should like pull up. It should pull up to you guys, like if you Google it. But yeah, it has a lot of like detailed info about about the match and like the different programs. So you can go through that and kind of gives you good enough information. But yeah, we don't have a list, as I told you, because like we ended up just applying everywhere. And wherever it sticks, it sticks. That's kind of the deal we went with. Yeah. If there are any, we can find those places. Thank you really. Thanks all for the hard work, and Dr. Ennis and Dr. Lynn. This was very informative. No problem, everybody. We're happy to like help. What do you mean by categorical residency program? So an advanced position versus a categorical position. These are the two types of programs that you have. A categorical position is basically a program you apply to, you get accepted, and you move on with your residency. That's it, done deal, which is most of the residencies. An advanced position or advanced residency program is a program that starts in your PGY2, and you would have to find a preliminary year before it.
To do your PGY.
Exactly. So like for radiology, for example, it's a 4-year residency program, right? But I applied match 2020, but I didn't start radiology till July of 2021, which is basically a year after when I started my residency. What I did before that was the prelim or transitional year, which starts in July of 2020 up until June of 2021. That's basically what a categorical versus advanced position is. It's advanced position residencies are residencies that start a year later, but you have to find a prelim year to do during that time. Yeah. So that includes radiology, anesthesia. I don't know why I remember Opta was one of those.
Yeah, I think Opta
ortho,
is.
maybe.
No, ortho,
ortho
but it's general surge. Like you can't do.
Well, you can do transitional. It doesn't have to be. Yeah.
Are you sure?
Yes. So ortho, and then I'm not. There are a few others. I'm not really sure which ones, but like you would know when you're applying. Thank you very much, guys, for your time. We truly appreciate it. How can we contact you later on? Are you Alfaisal emails still active? My Alfaisal email is still active. Even Lynn's is active, but she doesn't use it.
Yeah, so just email me at my UAMS email. It's on the last slide.
It's on the last slide. We put the presentation. Both of our emails are on the last slide. you guys can like go ahead and email us. Feel free to email us with any questions. Well, doctors, I just got in. Is the video recorded? I assume so.
Here, they
Yeah.
answered. The recordings will be shared.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Samiha already
Thanks,
answered.
thanks,
Thank you,
thank
Samiha.
you, thank you. Okay.
You are all welcome. Do you mind sharing the name of the webpage you're talking about where you can see the IMG friendly? I didn't understand the name. Yeah, I just wrote it up top. I'll write it again. That's
Here, let's
basically the
see.
webpage's name.
Hey,
Like
this
just
link?
Google it and you'll get a link.
Is this the link?
I think so, yeah.
So if you want to text it to me. Or
View all
text it.
specialties. Yeah, this is the one. Frida.ama. Dash. Here, I'll write it down. Frida.ama-assn.org. This is the link. So I guess you guys can use that link, and they basically have a lot of information about different programs. And if that doesn't work, you can always try and Google, like go into the Reddit forums. There are a lot of people that talk about like the different
Reddit is
stuff.
good. Yeah.
So Reddit can like
Yeah.
actually help. Sorry if that wasn't really that helpful, but yeah. Freddy has typing also Residency Explorer, so that's another thing you guys can use. Thanks a lot for the information. Great session. Thank you for sharing experience. It was very important. You guys are all welcome.
Any other
questions that you guys have that we can answer?
Yeah, and as the match gets closer, if you are like actually doing couple matching, yeah, please email us.
Yeah.
Watch those videos, anything that we can do to help.
Mhm.
All right. Thank you so much, Dr. Anas and Dr. Lynn. We really appreciate all the time and effort that you put into this. Couples matching can for sure be really stressful, but I'm sure all the audience, they benefited from the talk and all the advice that you shared with us. I'd also like to thank the audience for attending the webinar today. We hope you found it beneficial. If you have any more questions, you can ask them now. Feel free to unmute yourself. Also, we'll be conducting more webinars very soon about the matching process, so make sure to stay tuned. Here's the registration link for that. And also make sure to follow us on Alfaisal MedHub on Twitter and Instagram. So if you guys have any questions, you can go ahead.
Also, good luck. Good job, MedHub. Mashallah, you guys have really stepped it up and are kind of making it very organized for everyone. So we do appreciate it. And
For sure.
we're proud to be Alfaisal alumni, really.
Yeah. And thank you all for like being here, and thank you all for like attending. And we were more than happy to like share this information. For sure. Like it's a pleasure for us as well.
Thank you so much.